You think life has one peak, one golden window where everything clicks, and after that, it's just decline? You're wrong. And the moment you understand why, you'll never look at your age the same way again. Because somewhere right now, someone your exact age is convinced their best days are behind them. And somewhere else, someone the exact same age just found the thing that will define the rest of their life. Same number, two completely different realities. So what's actually going on here? Let's start with something strange. Chess grandmasters, their brains peak insanely early. Around 20, sometimes younger, fast pattern recognition, lightning reflexes, raw processing speed. That's a young brain superpower. But here's the twist. Ask a chess grandmaster to also become a wise, persuasive leader, someone who can read a room, negotiate, calm a crisis, and that same 20-year-old brain isn't ready yet. Not even close, because that skill peaks decades later. Scientists have a name for this. Two kinds of intelligence living inside you. One is called fluid intelligence. Pure speed, memory, quick thinking. It peaks shockingly early, often in your 20s. The other is called crystallized intelligence. The ability to understand people, connect ideas, see the bigger picture. And that one doesn't peak until your 50s, sometimes your 70s, which means the version of peak you were taught was only ever half the story. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. If different mental abilities peak at wildly different ages, then different careers built on different abilities must peak at wildly different ages too, which means the timeline you've been silently comparing yourself to, it might not even apply to you. Think about it like this. A mathematician's biggest breakthroughs usually happen before 30. Their brain is built for that early spark of pure abstract insight. But a novelist, their most celebrated work often arrives in their 40s and 50s, because storytelling isn't about speed. It's about having lived enough to have something to say. One woman didn't publish her first novel until she was 39. That book won her a Nobel Prize decades later. If she'd measured herself against a 25-year-old prodigy, she might have quit before she ever started. A fashion icon didn't design her first dress until 40. After her Olympic figure skating dream ended and a corporate career left her unfulfilled, she's now one of the most recognized names in bridal fashion on earth. And a man in his 60s, broke, living off social security checks, decided to sell his fried chicken recipe door to door, over 1,000 rejections. He didn't stop. His face is now on buckets sold in nearly every country on the planet. Every one of them was too late by someone else's timeline. So here's the real question hiding underneath all of this. What if the anxiety you feel about falling behind isn't actually about your age at all? What if it's about measuring yourself against the wrong kind of peak? Because entrepreneurs, statistically, don't peak in their 20s like the movies tell you. The average age of a founder behind a high-growth startup is closer to 45. Experience compounds, judgment compounds, networks compound, emotional intelligence, the thing that makes people trust you, follow you, want to work with you, keeps rising well into your 50s and 60s. Even happiness itself follows this pattern. Researchers have found life satisfaction tends to dip in your 40s, and then quietly, steadily climbs afterward, often peaking later than almost anyone expects. So if your brain has multiple engines, each one built to peak at a completely different moment in your life, then the idea of one peak was never true to begin with. It was a story, a shortcut, a way to compare yourself quickly to someone else without asking whether the comparison even made sense. Let's make this personal for a second. Picture two people, same age, standing at what looks like the same fork in the road. One of them looks around, sees people younger already ahead, and quietly decides they missed their window. They stop trying new things. They shrink their ambitions to match a deadline nobody actually set for them. The other one looks at the exact same evidence and thinks something completely different. Maybe I haven't hit my window yet. Maybe mine isn't built for right now. Same starting point, same age, same evidence, but only one of them keeps building. And 5, 10, 20 years later, that decision is the entire difference between two very different lives. So which one sounds familiar? Here's the part almost nobody tells you, the skills that quietly make people extraordinary later in life. Patience, pattern recognition across decades, the ability to read people, the ability to stay calm when everything is falling apart. Those skills cannot be rushed. They can only be earned through time, through failure, through simply staying in the game long enough to collect them. Which means every year you assumed was wasted was actually deposits into an account you haven't opened yet. You weren't behind. You were early for a moment that hadn't arrived. So the next time you scroll past someone younger who seems to have it all figured out, pause. Ask yourself which kind of intelligence they're showcasing, speed or wisdom. because those are two entirely different races running on two entirely different clocks, and you are not required to finish both at the same time. Somewhere out there right now is a version of you that hasn't happened yet. Not because you're too late, not because the window closed, but because it hasn't opened. So stop measuring your life against a single peak that was never designed to hold your whole story. You think life has one peak? You were wrong. Your peak isn't behind you, it's coming.